Jose Earthquakes. You've also got some teams in the USL Championship competing as well. Tampa Bay Rowdies, Detroit City FC, Indy 11, who made it to the semis in 2024. Incredible run for them. Phoenix Rising FC, Colorado Springs, El Paso Locomotive FC, Rhode Island FC, who have really impressed as they entered the USL Championship last season. Charleston Battery, Lou City, and then how about these teams? All right, we got some cup sets potentially on the horizon. Union Omaha, who have had a lot of success in this competition. AV Alta FC, Tacoma Defiance of MLS Next Pro, and Chattanooga. All right. Welcome in, everybody. We've got David Applegate, the U.S. Open Cup commissioner, with us today. And David, lots to look forward to. But before we do that, let's take a look at the rules, so you all know what's going on ahead of the draw coming up here shortly. All right, so the teams that advance from the third round will be drawn against 16 MLS teams. Teams will be divided into 8 groups based on geography. Each group has pre-designated home and away teams from Major League Soccer, and random selection was used to solve that lack of logical geological fit. It's a big country, all right? Okay, and here's what else you need to know. Each group is a 4-team bracket. Winners of the round of 32 matches will face off at the round of 16, and the order is drawn to determine hosting priority for the round of 16. That's important. And a team's ability to host in the round of 32 and round of 16 can impact placement in the draw. All right, with all of that out of the way, David, it's so great to have you in studio with us today. What's new this year for this draw?
Got it new in the Open Cup this year. We've got some pre-designated hosts and pre-designated visiting teams. What that essentially means is we'll have 8 seeded MLS teams who are going to be hosting, 8 on the road. That guarantees that we've got lower division teams hosting 8 MLS teams, and we'll fill it out with the other 8 teams advancing from the third round playing at an MLS club. All
right, and this guy was up until, what, 2 a.m. last night, sorting through all of this as the third round matches wrapped up. So what's the biggest challenge when it comes to putting together something like this?
The biggest challenge is the turn. Last night, I mean, we've got a late finish in Las Vegas, and it always works out that the latest game is the game we've got to sort out. And that's a big swing. Vegas and Chattanooga are not near each other, as the Red Wolves will attest from their flight home today.
Yep.
But, and that's one of the biggest challenges we face with the draw is that, there's a lot of USL Championship teams out west. There's this year a lot of MLS teams in the Northeast. So it means the geography gets a little bit funky.
Absolutely. Well, without further ado, it's now time to shift our focus to the draft.
To Brito, served, back post, Holstead scores, takes it perfectly out of the air. Compounding the issue for Portland, it's Frank D'Arce. Out in front, we are level. Puts it towards goal, and there's 2. What a ball, what a finish. North Carolina FC has stormed in front. Lovely touch, Moyle, straight through the middle. Alex Moyle for Nashville, scores. Takes it to delivery. Oh, and it's a header that's drilled in there. Perez goes for goal and finds it.
Into the space, good early start. Zinchenko onto the back post, and it's not quick. And what a finish from Zinchenko. Could this be the chance to seal it? Still, and it is.
All right, here we go. We start in the East with the Kobe Jones group. And quickly, David, what was the inspiration behind the names for these groups?
Well, as we mentioned, the geography gets really wonky here with the Open Cup. Wonky is the technical term.
Yes, of course.
And essentially we try to find a little bit of history, tell a little bit of a story with the name of the groups. And these are all the 8 most capped U.S. men's national team players that also have a U.S. Open Cup winners medal.
All right, we love that bit of history. Okay, so here we go, everybody. Let's get into the draw.
All right.
No pressure for me, by the way. Getting ready for Easter, actually, coming up this weekend. Okay, first up, we have Rhode Island FC. So here you have a look. Rhode Island FC will be playing host to the New England Revolution.
Geography worked out in our favor here.
It did work out in our favor here. Okay, next up. New England Revolution, and this is important for the hosting priority order for the next round in the round of 16.
Yes, for the round of 16. Now, what it means is with Rhode Island and New England drawn first, the winner of this game is going to be guaranteed to host the next round. But, as we go through the draw today, that order will be mixed up with teams ranked 1 through 4 in the ability to host in round of 16.
All right, very good. Okay, let's give this a good mix. Okay, so this next team, the Chicago Fire, they will get third hosting priority order, and they will play host to, well, the final team remaining here, and we'll do the procedural thing to do, and that is, of course, there you go, Detroit City FC. So there is a look at the final order, and the matches are set for May 6th and 7th in the round of 32. All right, now let's send it over to the desk. What do you think, team, of this draw here? Benny, this Rhode Island team, they've really impressed.
Do we know who the manager is for Rhode Island? Cano Smith. He played for New England Revolution, I think, over 80 games. So that's already a storyline right there. Should be a very interesting matchup in that round there.
Yeah, for the Revs, honestly, I mean, sometimes for teams that struggle to salvage something, they weren't great last season, U.S. Open Cup might be something that gives this project a thumbs up, a seal of approval that they're heading in the right direction.
I remember playing in the Open Cup, especially the early rounds, and I thought more about this as an individual back then, but it can serve the same purpose as a team. It's games that you have a real opportunity to build some momentum, because you are playing against teams that, in theory, you should be able to beat. You should be able to, get goals and get assists and whatnot. And so players can get some kind of confidence there, and teams as well.
Absolutely. I was just looking at that Chicago Fire matchup against Detroit City. Detroit City's fans are absolutely wonderful, and I feel like that could be a huge difference maker for them.
Yeah, it would be exciting to see them advance. Well, we're going to send it back over to you guys for the Landon Donovan group now. All right, here we go. Next up, so you've got the Philadelphia Union, New York City FC, Indy 11, and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Indy 11, they made the semis last year, which was their best finish in club history, while the Pittsburgh Riverhounds two-time quarterfinalists. So without further ado, let's begin the draw, shall we? All right, so David, while I'm drawing the first team, can you explain as well the seeding for these MLS teams for home and away?
Got it. Yeah, the MLS seeding this year was teams that aren't in Leagues Cup and aren't in CONCACAF Champions Cup were the seeded teams. The first one's in Open Cup based on how how we selected those teams. And then the next group up is the Leagues Cup teams that aren't in CONCACAF Champions Cup, with just one kind of random fix for random choice between New England and Chicago to decide which one hosts, because there's 9 teams that weren't in.
Perfect. Okay, so here is the first team drawn of this group. We have the Philadelphia Union. So Philadelphia Union, they draw first in that hosting priority order. So
round of 16, if Philly wins round of 32, they host in round of 16.
All right. Next up. All right, we have the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC as the second team drawn.
So they'll fill in the top spot there. We're next to New York City FC and host the Pigeons.
All right, very good. Okay, next up. We have Indy 11, who will travel to play at Philadelphia Union. And last, but certainly not least, on the hosting priority order here, as the matchups are set, we have New York City FC. So if they were to advance, they would play away.
They would play away.
All right. Sending it back to the desk now. What do we think, group, of these teams competing? Indy 11, this is another team that could make a run. We've seen them do well in this competition before. What are our thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. Listen, Indy 11 has been good. It's a club that has shown that they can compete in their league, in the U.S. Open Cup. But I'm looking at Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Danny Griffin, who's been captaining the team in the championship, gotten out to a goal-scoring start, scored the winner just this past match day. They defeated Columbus Crew in the 2023 U.S. Open Cup. From the show, we had him on Morning Footy, interviewing him, so they might be onto something.
Yeah, just to add a little bit with Indy 11, they beat Atlanta last year away from home, and I know they're playing against Philly away from home this year. Eventually, they lost to Sporting Kansas City last season, but I won't count them out, even though they're playing on the road.
Yeah, Indy 11 reaching the semifinals last season, their best in club history. So we definitely have some exciting matchups there. Guys, take it away for the Clint Dempsey group now. Okay, here we go. We've got Claudia Pagan's DC United, Charlotte FC, Charleston Battery, and North Carolina FC. So let's go back to the bowl and pull the first team as we look to make these brackets. So the home priority here, DC United, David, and then Charlotte FC away.
Make sure let's get that mix a little bit stronger. We want to we need to keep the internet off Allie's back after
Oh my gosh,
the show
okay,
here.
well don't say that. Now I'm nervous.
Yeah, no, you're
This is
all
my
good.
first time doing something like this.
There you go. You're good.
Okay,
You're good.
was that good?
Yeah, you're
all right.
good. Absolutely.
Whew. Okay, here we go. Hopefully no one's mad at this pick. Here we go. North Carolina FC, the first team drawn, and they will jump into that top spot hosting Charlotte FC. So a little North Carolina action over there.
Yeah. North Carolina FC versus Charlotte Independence was the Dogwood Derby. I don't know. Is there going to be a different name, or is it the other Dogwood Derby for this one?
I don't know. All right, giving it a good mix yet again. And we have Charleston Battery, who will travel to play at DC United, but come in second in the hosting priority order for the round of 16. All right, yeah, and that guarantees a USL team to host in the round of 16. Yeah, if they win.
If they win. That's always the key.
All right, here we go. Third pick, DC United. So DC United come in third on that list. And of course, last but not least, I don't know why I was swirling that around. There's only one in there.
I put you under a lot of pressure with
You
this
did,
group.
David. Now I'm a little bit nervous. That's okay, though. Charlotte FC. So just to recap here, in the round of 32 taking place on May 6th and 7th, you have North Carolina FC hosting Charlotte FC and DC United playing host to Charleston Battery. But as you can see in the hosting priority order for the round of 16, you've got two USL teams. But Kupo, this is the DC team that has had some success in this competition before.
Absolutely, more than just a little bit of success. Three actual titles, 2 runner-up finishes in their entire history. In fact, they won the U.S. Open Cup their inaugural season with MLS. So back in 1996, when they had the likes of Eddie Pope and Jaime Moreno on that squad, and they continued to move forward from there. 2008, 2013, again, they clinched that title, and then runner-up finishes in 97 and 2009. I think they're back, and they've got teeth bared this go-around. This in the, I'll call it the Deuce group with the North Carolina Dempsey Derby, because Clint does live in North Carolina now. So I feel like this is going to be a really explosive group going forward. But yeah, DC.
They got a tough
They better
matchup,
put on
though.
a show.
Charleston Battery are no slouches. I mean, they were one of the top teams last year in the USL Championship. This is a tough matchup, and
this is actually a match, a revisit to a 2008, was it?
Yes. Yeah.
2008 final where they did in fact lose to DC. So they'll be back with a vengeance. But you know, Charleston Battery, they do have eyes on striker Cal Jennings, who they recently got from the Tampa Bay Rowdies, putting up double-digit goals last season and the prior.
That 2008 final, if I'm not mistaken, I might be making this up, but I hope
you can remember this final.
If you say it with confidence, we'll believe it.
No, Ian Fuller, who is now the coach of One Knoxville, who is also the husband of our former host, Susanna Fuller, played in that final, I believe. That's the Charleston Battery.
Ooh, we're
Who
getting
scored the
nods
first
of
goal in that
approval
final.
back there. So yeah, confirmed.
There we go. So I'm not wrong. I wasn't just pulling it out.
You're never wrong, Nico. Nico knows.
Anyway.
We can also call this the Claudia Pagan versus Poppy Miller derby, because I worked with DC. Poppy
It doesn't really roll off the tongue like the Dempsey Derby, but okay, fine.
I just wanted to include myself in there. I do love seeing all the old school DC United photos. Nothing makes me happier than that. All right, guys, we're going to send it back over to you for the Jeff Agus group. Hey, Poppy Pagan, that's like you got a little alliteration there. Okay, so here's the Jeff Agus group, and an interesting note with this one, this is already a preset bracket, David. Why?
Yep, and that's in a situation where we've got one preset team away already. Chattanooga does not have a venue available to host in the next round, so this draw gets preset, and now we'll just take a look at the priority order for round of 16.
All right, so let's do just that, shall we? I've got my, what's it called? I've got my routine down here. I've got like the method to the madness. All right, here we go. First up, For hosting priority order in the round of 16, the first team, we've got the Chattanooga Red Wolves. All right, so how will that work then?
Chattanooga also does not have a venue available next round, so we'll be skipping them over for the hosting priority order, so win, and they would still be on the road.
Okay, so
that's one quirk to the priority order is in order to host, you have to want to host or have a venue available to host in this case.
Okay, so this team would actually be the team that would have
this next team was this is the prime spot for this group.
All right, sorry, Chattanooga, you get such a lucky pick there. Okay, so here we go. We have Orlando City SC, the 2022 champs of the U.S. Open Cup. They will have hosting priority order in the next round if they get past Tampa Bay Rowdies. So a little bit of a Florida clash we've got there. Okay, 2 more teams left. Okay, we have the Tampa Bay Rowdies coming in third on our list, or second really, for hosting priority order in the next round. And then last but certainly not least, we will do the procedural thing here. We have Nashville SC coming in that final spot. So just to recap again, Tampa Bay Rowdies taking on Orlando City, Nashville SC against Chattanooga, and in the hosting priority order, Orlando City, the team coming in first there if they're able to get past that round of 32 matchup. So what do we think? I mean, Orlando City, they just re-signed Oscar Pareja, and this is a team, like this, they had success only a couple seasons ago. What do we think?
Oh, it's a great round for Orlando City because now they beat the Tampa Bay Rowdies. They got the hosting priority in the next round because Chattanooga can't get it. And so, look, Oscar Pareja just got himself a new contract. A big part of that is probably because of the U.S. Open Cup championship that they had a couple of seasons ago. They got their foot in the door. Another great opportunity for them to continue in this trophy conquest. And I think we'll see a good and long run by the Orlando City.
And to go up against the Tampa Bay Rowdies team, which... Sorry, Nico. But listen, it was really anyone's game. And Tampa Bay Rowdies, they're a team that's pretty dominant in their league.
Yeah, just not this season, right? They've started off with a lot of questions. They fired their manager. Proper new manager bounce.
Yeah, they have a lot of history, but right now they're not playing great.
Yeah, not great. But it's good to see a historic name like Tampa Bay Rowdies in the U.S. Open Cup.
For sure. Orlando will take this super seriously, too, so this is going to be a fiery matchup.
Yep. Well, that is how the East half looks. What about the West half? Well, the draw is not over yet. We'll pick it back up on the other side of this short break. Stay with us.
corner and header, goal! Angle tightening, falls in front, blasted in! Alto leads!
Starting, but instead it's Fagundes!
McGlynn coming inside. McGlynn opening up, scores! The gamble has paid off!
From Shakaris. Keeper stays on his line. Martinez. Oh, Espinoza. Martinez for the hat trick. Ucha Magooch.
Here's Kingston on goal. What a stunner that is! De Rosario deflected and in! Tacoma finds a way!
Hey, welcome back to our U.S. Open Cup draw. Time now for the West half portion of the draw, and we start with the DeMarcus Beasley group. We've got St. Louis City SC in their third season, but second in the U.S. Open Cup, Minnesota United, Louisville City FC, and Union Omaha of USL League One. They were the first team to beat an MLS team ever in the U.S. Open Cup, Chicago Fire 2022 quarterfinals. That was an insane game, David. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. You've got Minnesota United and then St. Louis City waiting to see who they will draw. So here we go. We've been working on the weave, is what we're calling it here. Yeah, we've got it. We're figuring it out here.
The triple weave's easy. It's like the shell game.
I was up all night watching clips of Vanna White. We're figuring it out. Here we go. First team. We have Minnesota United. So Minnesota United will have first hosting priority order for the next round. Next up, here we go. We have USL Championship side Louisville City FC. So they will play host to Minnesota United in the round of 32 and are second on the list of hosting priority order for the round of 16. Should they advance? Okay, 2 teams left.
Yep. And then there's no hosting priority matters here because the top half of the bracket has it.
Okay, here we go. Next up, Union Omaha. So, of course, they will play away at St. Louis City SC. No stranger to some cup sets. And as it would stand, St. Louis will be last on that list of hosting priority order. All right.
There we go.
What do we think? And Union Omaha, I mean, how many Open Cup games have they hosted before?
Union Omaha, they've got a variety of they've got 3 venues actually in Omaha that meet Open Cup qualifications to host, because I know when primary venues are a baseball stadium, it's always a little bit challenged to do that flip for a midweek. But Union Omaha traveling to St. Louis City, which is a rematch from 2 years ago, I believe.
All right, and this is a team that Benny Feilhaber knows all too well from his short stint with Des Moines. So what do you think, Benny? Is this hard for you to see?
No, look, Union Omaha has had some really good Open Cup runs in the last few years, and I can't remember exactly which year it was, but they've played Sporting Kansas City a couple times and got ousted, but they've won a couple games against some big MLS clubs as well. They beat Chicago. So that'll be an interesting matchup at St. Louis and the top side of the bracket as well. Look, I really love Minnesota this year in MLS, but we'll see what kind of movements they make in that game. Louisville, arguably the best team in USL Championship over the last couple seasons, playing at home. That should be one hell of a matchup. Yeah, Danny Cruz also he played with Minnesota and obviously coaching Louisville City. So another interesting tidbit there.
Allie, we'll toss it back over to you.
Thanks, everybody. Okay, next up we have the Carlos Bocanegra group, and this is another group that is already preset. The bracket is because El Paso Locomotive did not apply to host in the round of 32. So we will see the matchups already set, but we are still drawing, of course, for the hosting priority order for the round of 16. So here is a look at the matchups for the round of 32 taking place May 6th and May 7th. You've got Phoenix Rising FC playing host to Houston Dynamo, Austin FC, and El Paso Locomotive. So without further ado, here we go. All right. Is that David's laughing at me. Okay, first team drawn. We have El Paso Locomotive, who will get the hosting priority order first spot, but because they did not apply yet again, this next spot is really the one that's going to matter.
Yep.
Yes.
You're 2 for 2 on that.
I know. I don't know what that says, but maybe I'm doing something right. Okay, so the team with hosting priority order, in fact, is Phoenix Rising FC. So they will occupy that spot and are already playing host in the round of 32 to the Houston Dynamo. Okay, next up. We have Austin FC, who will come in second on that list should Phoenix Rising not advance past the Houston Dynamo. But they still got to get past their matchup, of course. As we know, upsets are bound to happen. And Houston Dynamo, who were, of course, the champions just a couple of seasons ago, led by Ben Olsen, who is actually joining us now. He will be over there with Tom Bogert. Tom, take it away.
Thanks, Allie. Yeah, we're here with head coach Ben Olsen of the Houston Dynamo. He is getting ready for the matchup against the Phoenix Rising. Ben, as a player and a coach, you've won this tournament 3 times. Can you tell me what are the key ingredients to a U.S. Open Cup run?
Luck, and a better draw than that with this home field stuff. I don't know who's picking those balls out of there, but it's a difficult tournament. It really is, and managing minutes early and then getting through. And again, where are you playing? Who's healthy? Midweek games. It's a dance, and there's all different ways to get to the cup. But there's no one recipe. You take each game. The USL teams are very good, and as our league grows, as does as their league keeps pushing, they get more difficult. And we know Phoenix Rising pretty well. I'll be leaning on my assistant coach Juan Guara, who coached there and won a championship a few years back. So we'll be leaning on him on the scouting report. But we're looking forward to it. We respect the Open Cup here at Houston Dynamo, as I did at DC United, and I think it's a wonderful tournament, and we're lucky to be in it.
Bring us back to winning this tournament with the Houston Dynamo. What were those feelings like, and how important was it for you and this team in building the project that you've begun?
Yeah, it was a wonderful year. It was a first year I was in charge, and we brought a lot of winners in, and it was a great run. Again, it happens in different ways, but to beat Miami in Miami was a difficult task, and one that group was up to it on the night. I thought we played great, and in your first year to hold a trophy, it's a very rare thing to do in this sport. I don't care what tournament it is, whether it's League Cup, Open Cup, or the MLS Cup. Those nights are what we do this for, and it was just again a great memory, and hopefully we can do it again.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben, and good luck. We're back to you, Allie, for the rest of the draw.
Ben, I'm sorry, okay? Look, I'm new to this whole thing. I would have never done that to you on purpose. I don't know. This is all just a draw. It's all at random, okay, everybody?
Allie's defense, this was the competition rule that predetermined the home and away teams.
You're right, yeah.
This isn't on you, Al.
Look, if I had known that people are going to be coming for me, David, I don't know if I would have signed up for this, okay? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we never tell you that before the draw.
Didn't you give Houston Dynamo hosting priority, though, if they win the game against Phoenix Rising?
Benny, I'm like 2 seconds away from making Benny Feilhaber come over and finish the rest of the draw. All right. So
you're pissing off 2 Bennys today.
I really am. Oh, no. Okay. Well, hey, we've got our next group, and that is the Paul Caligari group. So we've got FC Dallas of Major League Soccer, 2-time winners of this competition. New York Red Bulls, AV Alta FC. Did somebody say cup set? USL one side. They advanced on Pens last night. And then we also have Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. All right, so here we go, everybody. We've only got 2 groups left. And this is the first of those final 2. So you see New York Red Bulls, the away side, and FC Dallas, the home side. I've got my weave technique now. I think technique was the word I was searching for earlier. Okay, here we go. First team polled. The New York Red Bulls. So New York Red Bulls will have first hosting priority order in the next round, should they advance past the round of 32.
And Red Bulls are in this group, of course, this is one of those random geography situations where we had New York City FC drawn to stay
yes.
in their region. New York Red Bulls, the team without the travels.
Not really a West Coast team, huh? Okay, next up we have FC Dallas. So FC Dallas coming second in that list of hosting priority order. So both MLS teams could host in the next round.
But also, and correct me at the desk if I'm wrong, but I think we had Red Bulls in the Western Conference playoffs once in MLS.
Yep, that tracks.
Oh, okay,
not so
this is
unusual
not
for them.
unfamiliar territory. In 2008. Okay, very good. Yeah, en route to the final, too. Okay, here we go. So, next up, we have the Colorado Springs Switchbacks, and they will play host to the New York Red Bulls in the round of 32 and come in third on that list for hosting priority order in the round of 16 for whoever advances. And then last but certainly not least, we have AV Alta FC of USL League One. So just to recap, the round of 32 taking place May 6th and 7th. We have Colorado Springs Switchbacks hosting the New York Red Bulls, FC Dallas playing host to AV Alta FC. And we also have Tom Bogert set up with another interview for us. He's going to be talking with the manager, the head coach, James Chambers of Colorado.
Thanks, Allie. Yes, we're with James Chambers of Colorado Switchbacks. James, thank you for joining us here on an early morning after an emotional win last night. Can you bring us back to that extra time win over Knoxville?
Yeah, it went a little bit longer than we would have liked last night, but ultimately was able to get the job done. Knoxville posed some serious threats and obviously scored early and then late in the game, which led to some extra time. Thankfully, we got the job done.
So you just got the draw here. You're hosting the New York Red Bulls. What are your first thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, I think when it's a cup competition, it's nice to be playing against teams that aren't in your league and you see on a consistent basis. So obviously last night playing Knoxville and then Red Bull in the next round, it's nice to obviously test ourselves against higher level opponents.
Awesome, James. Good luck and thank you for your time. Allie, back over to you.
All right, everybody, we have one final group left in the draw, and that is the Casey Keller group to close out the round of 32 and the western half of the U.S. Open Cup bracket. So here's a look. You've got the San Jose Earthquakes. They have been rolling under new head coach Bruce Arena. Portland Timbers, Sacramento Republic, who were the runners-up, if you remember, back in 2022, and Tacoma Defiance of MLS Next Pro. All right, so without further ado, let's get this thing rolling. I think my technique is pretty much the best it's been up at this point in the draft.
Last chance saloons. So.
I'm really afraid to check my notifications on social media, David. I'm not going to lie to you.
I hope they named you, Allie.
I hope they didn't, honestly. Okay, here we go. First team polled is Tacoma Defiance. All right, so Tacoma Defiance will play host to the Portland Timbers. A little Cascadia clash we've got going on. And they have first hosting priority order in the next round should they advance. Okay, next up. Okay, here we go. All right, Sacramento Republic FC. So they will travel in the round of 32 to the San Jose Earthquakes, but should they advance, they will have second hosting priority order, and Sacramento is an incredible atmosphere. I was there a couple years back when they upset Sporting Kansas City to make it to the final where they lost against Orlando. All right, two teams left. We have the San Jose Earthquakes, who come in third on that list of hosting priority order. And then last but certainly not least, our final poll of the draw, we have the Portland Timbers. So there you have it, the round of 32 Casey Keller group, Tacoma Defiance hosting the Portland Timbers, San Jose Earthquakes against Sacramento Republic, and those matches taking place on May 6th and May 7th. All right. San Jose, this is a team that is really impressed after some really poor seasons, led by Bruce Arena, who's no stranger to this competition.
Quakes, baby. Yeah, Bruce Arena, who brought DCU their very first U.S. Open Cup championship. We're now looking at their best runs into this competition being 2004 and 2017. Coincidentally, Allie, you'll love this right up your alley. 2004, they lost to the then KC Wiz and were bounced out. And then in 2014 to to Sporting KC, both iterations. So I hope that adds some bump to your little swirling job over there. But the Quakes are going to be looking to finally get their name in the books here. This is a serious competition. Bruce Arena knows how to run this here. I think they're in good hands. I think this is going to be a really interesting matchup for them.
Benny,
shout out to the other matchup, though, with Portland going into Starfire and trying to beat Tacoma Defiance. Part of MLS Next Pro, I never won a game at Tacoma Defiance. Starfire is a very difficult venue, so Portland better bring out the big dogs.
That's a great shout because that's actually the last standing MLS Next Pro team in this competition, and we do have to keep some eyes on Di Rosario, Yu Sukanome, and Sebastian Gomez, so shouts to them.
Yeah. Allie, David, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
U.S. Open Cup round of 32. It is set. We're going to take a quick break here on the Golazo Network. We're going to be wrapping things up on the other side. Stay with us.